I love making video games. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my God. Dude, it feels like magic. And maybe this is just Unreal Engine, but it's a different feeling that I've never experienced. It doesn't feel real. It's imposter syndrome, but it's also just euphoria. Here we go. Spell cooldown. It works now. I need to add one more thing, but the visual parts work. And it didn't take long. I just had to look up something to see what other people did, and I was like, oh shit, that's actually a fantastic idea. Oh, okay, close the game. All right, hold, shut the fuck up. Here we go. Freeze. Yo, fireball. Freeze. Fireball. Freeze. See? Look at that, dude. I could do magic missile. Fireball. Freeze. This guy came back. Boom. Look at that. Separate cooldowns. The shit works. Good. I've only done it for those 3 spells so far. I literally just have to paste like one node. It's so easy. But I had this dilemma where in the spell book I was creating an array of spell names because we have all these spells, okay? So we have all the spells already that exist. That's how the book checks and sees which spells you've got, and cool. But we also need cooldowns, and each spell has to have its own cooldown, because picture the bottom of a screen in World of Warcraft or something where you've got 20 spells, you cast one, then you cast another. Those are 2 separately running timers, not dependent upon each other. So we need to track the cooldown for each spell separately. So I could have a map, and a map apparently is like an array of something, and each element has a separate value attached to it, and you find the second values by searching for the first. For example, let's say there are 2 names in this array. One is Ethan, one is Eric, okay? And Eric is 35, Ethan is 32, and I want to find out Eric's age. I find Eric, that gives me his age. I find Ethan, that gives me his age. Maybe you can search for the final values, but I'm pretty sure you can only search for the name. You have a key and then a value. Problem. If I switch my array to then instead be a key of names and booleans, I can no longer find where an element is in there at an index. For maps, you can only find whether it's in the map. You can't find where in the map. So, not helpful. What we need is to be able to find a name and then just pull that index out and pop it into the other array, and then boom, that will give us the cooldown of that element. And whenever I'm doing that, we can just, or whenever I'm updating it, I can just size this array up to match the other size. So cool. Once the size matches, if we scale it down, it won't automatically scale down. It'll be good. Basically, we don't have to do reallocation and any of this memory shit. So, I think maybe it's actually bad under the hood. I'm not sure. I'll figure that out later. So we also need timers, right? We need different spells, but we also need a timer for each spell, or a delay or something. I tried doing a delay just to see how that would work. And whenever you call a delay and then you call it again, it invalidates the initial delay. For example, I call a delay of 5 seconds. I call it again, it invalidates the previous delay, like a single timer that gets overwritten every time you call it. So if I call it once, it's cooling fireball down. But then if I call it again to cool freeze down, it will stop cooling fireball down. Checking to see if there's a bug bite on the bottom of my foot, because I think when it gets cold, I get itchy and I have hair all over my body, not on the bottom of my foot, so that doesn't make much sense. But I'm kind of paranoid because I had a bug bite here and a couple bug bites on my back. I don't think they're bed bug bites. They felt like mosquito bites or gnat bites, maybe. Apparently gnats bite. Doesn't really matter. So I think this is a gnat bite from before I went to bed, because I've been killing a bunch of gnats and there were a bunch of gnats. I don't have any more. I'm not getting bit anymore, so we should be good. So we have the names and the cooldown statuses. Well, what about the timers? I don't want to have 20 different names of timers, and I don't want to create a new one for every spell we make. That's annoying and not modular and not, the word isn't reliable. The word is code, reusable, right? Or adaptive. It's not code that just, I can do other things and this code already fits it. I have to update everything. That would be annoying. So instead of adding a timer for each, what about an array of timers? I tried an array of timers. The problem is this. In here, you can do it differently apparently in C++, but in the blueprint, you can't create a timer. So if I do set timer by event. Okay, and then I go and I save this as a variable. We'll get the same options, and then we'll do timer. Just see what the options are. That's mine. I can check some things, but what can I actually do to it? I can pause it, unpause it, invalidate it, or clear and invalidate it. Both of these destroy the timer, and these are not what I want. I want to end the timer and reset it. I want to reset the timer. Can't do it. And when the timer is not looping, at the end, it gets destroyed and invalidated. So that's not what I want. I want a timer that ends and stays. It goes from 5 seconds down, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and stays at 0, and then I can reset it. Nope, can't do that. So what else do I do? I can't do a bunch of timers. I can't do that. I can't do delays. What do? I could try to do an array of timers, and they all, instead, since I could get an array of timers and just create a new one each time, sure, it's fine, and just add it at the index of the name. So that way it's just like the Booleans here. We start with 25 spells, we have 25 bools, I create a timer and I add it to the 17th, 17th, 17th index in that array. Well, that sucks too. Why? Because the timer somehow has to call something and say, this is the spell that's on cooldown. Well, the timer doesn't carry the name of the spell. It doesn't carry the status or anything. So really the timer just needs to say, okay, take this guy off cooldown, because when I put a spell on cooldown, I'll put that spell on cooldown and I'll update that spell's material and its status, whether it's on cooldown or not. But when the timer calls a function, how does it know, and how does the function learn which timer to take, or which spell to take off cooldown? Well, it could go through all the timers, find the least time remaining one, or find the one that's missing or something. Like I could save one, because I think the timer gets destroyed after it runs. So would we save the array as one copy and then check the current array and compare it and see which element's missing? Well, what if in that time another timer has expired? Which timer are we using? This is shit. Well, what's another way of doing it? What's an even better way? Is there like a way that I can create one thing, tell it which spell to go on cooldown, have it handle the timer, have it tell the spellbook with its own info because it knows which spell and it has its own timer, and when its timer ends, it goes and tells the spellbook this spell because it has passed the spell's information, and it passes the spell's information back when turning the cooldown off, when taking the spell off of cooldown. Well, how do I do that? That's what I wanted to do from the beginning. Instead of having an array of things, if I could just create one thing and pass it the spell and have it do the work, that would be sick. Oh, I could just create an actor, tell it the spell, tell it how long the timer should last, and spawn it somewhere, doesn't matter, somewhere in the world. And in this actor, make sure the spellbook that we were created from, that's also something we do, pass it the spellbook so it's doing it for this player. Update the cooldown, or well, tell the spellbook to put that spell on cooldown because we tell it to manage the cooldown. It tells the spellbook, hey, by the way, do this. And really, the spellbook could do this too. It could also put this spell on cooldown here and then tell this to manage it. It doesn't really matter. This can be either way. It's fine. So it'll turn the glow, the texture down. In this case, I just reduced the opacity of the spell page to 50%. And then I say, wait how long the cooldown is. And after, make sure the spellbook is still valid. You never know what happens. Make sure our reference is valid. Otherwise, we get a dangling reference. No good. And then, otherwise the program will crash because we'll get an exception thrown. And then, after we validate it, and then we go and tell the spellbook, hey, now, take them off a cooldown. And then end our timer. Really, the timer actually doesn't need to be ended because it would have expired here, but I'll just keep this here just in case. And after the timer's done, destroy this actor because we don't need him anymore. Sick. So now we have a guy who we can tell, here's your spell. Here's how long to wait. After you wait, tell the spellbook that the cooldown is done and to update the visuals accordingly. What does that mean? Well, the cooldown actor says, hey, spellbook, here's the spell, and here's whether it's on cooldown or not. That way I can call the same function here and here. I can call one function to put it on cooldown and one to take it off. And so what we do is we say, hey, put him on cooldown. Well, which one? Let's make sure we have that spell. So we're going to find that spell, and we're going to find where it is in our element. That way we can update its status so the spellbook knows, because the spellbook uses the cooldown status when updating the actual material. So we update it. So we have this big array of spell names. We have another array for a cooldown for each one of them, whether it's on cooldown or not for each spell. We update that element of the array to match it, or that element of the array to be the correct cooldown status. And then let's update the visuals. Every time a spell happens, I don't care which one it is. I don't want to have to check, oh, is that spell the currently visible one? No, I just want to update the current page we're on, regardless of what happens, just to make sure that the spell is being visualized properly. Because when we look at our spellbook, we have 3 pages. So page 2 is the one we see, page 3 is the one that's under it, and page 3 is the one that's under it, and page 1 is the spell that's to the left. Well, when I flip a page to the left, I pull page 2, and if I'm pulling it, I want to make sure that during that pull, the material gets updated properly, without worrying about what spell actually is on it. It's the only page that I can really see. And instead of checking to make sure, well, I mean, I could update all the spell pages and get the material that they're currently at and update the opacity. But what I would have to do is check the page, because if let's say, all right, I got 3 pages, and I casted 3 spells that are not the one. This is the difficulty about having the spells not require you to flip through the pages to use them. It's just a visual tool. That's it. To see which ones are on cooldown and which spells do I have. That's an issue. If they were locked together, it'd be easy, because every spell we use is the spell that's visible, and that's all we have to update. Cool. But now I have to make sure, like if I wanted to cast Fireball, but I'm way over on the other side of my spellbook and I'm casting Lightning Bolt and doing other shit, well, I don't want to, let me see. Like I have to, well, so I basically have 2 options. Either I only update the current spell if this page holds the spell we're updating. If I'm on Lightning Bolt and I'm not flipping pages and I cast Fireball, I don't need to update the Lightning Bolt page. But what that means is I need to check the Lightning Bolt page to see what spell it has. Well, how do I do that? I have to check the material. I could check to see what page we're currently on, but if I'm in the middle of flipping, we're still technically on this page, and that's not going to update this new page we see. Basically, this means that either I update all 3 pages every single time a spell comes on or off cooldown, or instead, I can just update the current page. The only issue here, and just because it's more efficient, it's less materials to update. Only difference is this. If I'm flipping a page, until that page is fully flipped, this page will not get updated. So whenever let me see, one sec. Oh, and so in updating page 2, I'm getting the current page, creating material from it, and I'm checking whether it needs to be at maximum opacity because it's not on cooldown, or whether it needs to be half opacity because it is on cooldown, or full opacity, 100%, fully visible because it's not on cooldown. And that's when I update the page. So either I could do this for all pages all the time. That way, mid-flip, we update this page. But then that means I have to check each page and maybe check whether it's flipping or not or something. Like I would have to basically, like I could make another function and have it update all page materials. So page 2 is always the current page material. But I could make this just get all 3 of the page materials and then set the material and then update the cooldown to be, well, I'd have to get the page materials and check which page or which spell is on each page and then check its cooldown from that and then do it. It already works if I just update the main page. The only issue here is this. I'm flipping pages right here before the page is fully flipped over. This spell was on cooldown and is no longer on cooldown. Or I casted a spell mid-page flip and this spell was not on cooldown and now it is on cooldown because I just casted it. And it won't update until the page flip finishes, because when the page flip finishes, we automatically update this page. This becomes page 2. We set it to be the current page and we automatically update it in the logic. Right here. We update the page 2 material because after I do any flipping, we reset the book back to its default state, unflipped, and that is always page 2, and we update page 2. So either I update them all just because, or, and it's a pain because we have to do a bunch of checks and whatnot, with no added benefit. The only added benefit is this. Mid-flip, it's a very tiny flip. Let's see how fast the flip is in general. Let's just see how fast it is. I mean, it's literally almost instant. It's so fast that, actually there might be a bug. I guess there's not. It's just that, oh wait. Actually, there is a bug. The material's messed up. Because when I'm flipping, the page is not occluding this. The freeze page should stop me from seeing the magic missile. And actually the issue will be even less, because when I'm flipping, I won't even see any other pages. I'll only see this new page. So it's fine. The only worry was that in this very quick flip, this next page would only be updated after the page turn has finished. So, oh, it just came off of cooldown. Now the visuals get updated after the flip. It's so minor, it's like a 1/10 of a second delay in the cooldown time. And if that was important, if that determined whether, well, the cooldown gets updated live. Right? As long as the cooldown gets updated, because that's what determines whether the page or whether the spell is castable. We go here and we say update cooldown status immediately, and that updates the status, and then we update page 2. So the page 3 isn't getting updated here until it becomes page 2, then it gets updated. But here, the cooldown gets updated. Excuse me. So even though the visual hasn't been updated, it is castable again. It is now off of cooldown. Or now it's not castable again. So the visuals are just a tiny delay. And I think it's fine, because the logic, the effort required to put that in there, it's not a huge amount. It just doesn't need to be there. It's just something we don't need. So next is I need to figure out why the pages aren't covering each other when they're flipping and when that even happens. Is it the speed? What if I just turn the animation speed down and see what happens? So what if we do 1 and just see what's going on here? Because I don't think I saw that issue before. Oh, it does exist. Hold. I think I actually need to... It seems like it works this way. So when the page is flipping to the right, the back textures are good, but the front textures are not good. And maybe it's a normal recalculation thing. Because this page, Fireball right here, should be masking freeze. Just makes it not look right. So the cooldown stuff works now. I want to test it with we'll just go to maze because those are the only spells we've got. Yo. Oops. Freeze. Fireball. Freeze. See, it's updated. Magic missile. It's updated already. Freeze is still there. Now it's updated. Fireball. Well, the only thing is like, okay, I don't want to keep jumping. See, that looks weird. I don't know why it's doing that. It's during the animation. It's transparent, kind of. Yeah, and none of it's occluding, so the whole front page is wonk. So I need to fix something with the normals. Fireball. And see, so during the flip, the opacity is wonk, and it's because it goes from page 2 to being page 1. So I think there's a little extra finesse required here. When we're flipping, we need to, in getting the material, we do check to see if it's on cooldown. And I set that to be this page. And so this is flipping to the left. If I'm flipping page 3, page 2 should already be activated. So page 2 should already have its opacity. Maybe it's the montage that's fucking with it a little. I'm not sure. I'll have to play around, but so far I'm in the cooldown stuff. It works, so sick.